are monitoring the contempt of Congress trial for former White House strategist Steve Bannon. Opening arguments began this afternoon. This is a look at Bannon leaving court today. He's accused of defying a subpoena from the House committee investigating the January 6th attack on the Capitol. The panel's deputy staff director and chief counsel was the first witness for the prosecution. When asked if subpoenas are voluntary in any way, Kristen Ammerling replied no. For more insight into the trial, we welcome former federal prosecutor for the Southern District of New York, Mr. Kan Nawaday. Kan, thank you so much, as always, for joining us. What do you make of the opening statement so far?
I thought they were textbook from the government side and from the defense side. Typically what happens, the government says to the jury, this is a really simple case, and this is why it's a simple case. And the defense gets up and says, oh, well, wait a second. It's a lot more complicated than that. And that's what Bannon's attorney had done. And he's done as good a job as he can do by saying, hey, wait a second. There are these discussions. And Mr. Bannon, he didn't willfully disregard this subpoena.
So what is the centerpiece, essentially, then, for Bannon's defense?
The centerpiece is, as with many of these public white-collar crimes, is criminal intent. And his defense is, I had no criminal intent. I didn't willfully disregard this subpoena. And I think what he's trying to do is he's trying to point to the discussions that happened between his attorney and the government attorney to show that, well, wait a second, he wasn't really expected to show up on that date in October. What
kind of problems could potentially arise based on that defense?
I think it's very problematic for Bannon. It's very dangerous. He's opening a Pandora's box. If it's true that his lawyer will come and testify on his behalf, he potentially is waiving attorney-client privilege with respect to his conversations with his attorney. And frankly, nobody ever wants your lawyer to be testifying for you in a criminal case.
So the Justice Department has the burden of proving 4 distinct elements beyond a reasonable doubt. Kind of break down what those 4 elements are.
And first off, Lindsey, that is correct. In criminal trials, the prosecution has to prove the defendant's guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. It's the standard we've been using in this country since the country was founded. It's a higher standard than in civil cases. In civil cases, all you have to prove, if you're the plaintiff, is that more likely than not, the person did what you accused them of doing. All beyond a reasonable doubt all reasonable doubt is simply a doubt that is based on reason and common sense. It cannot be a doubt about the defendant's guilt that is based on speculation. And it's also important to remember that the government does not have to prove the defendant's guilt beyond all possible doubt. If there's a doubt that is reasonable, that is based on common sense, that's the only type of doubt the jury is able to consider.
And you mentioned that Bannon's attorney might take the witness stand. Who else do you think might?
I expect, as we've already seen, the DOJ attorney who testified earlier today, who dealt with the discussions with Bannon's attorney, would testify that, and has testified, that there was this subpoena, and that I believe she's going to testify, if she hasn't already, that he didn't show up. I expect that there could be a witness from the congressional investigation to prove up the element that this testimony and these documents they were seeking from Bannon were relevant to their investigation.
And lastly, when we saw Steve Bannon right before, on the eve, basically, of this trial say, you know what, actually, I'll talk. I'll go before the committee and I'll talk. Is the thinking here that he thought that that would supersede then the trial, that would make this go away?
I think so. I think he thought maybe now he can try to go make amends. That's number one. But really, I think what he was trying to do was basically delay things and try to push off the trial date.
Kan Nawaday, our thanks to you as always.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.